relief supplies finally reach flood victims. Archaeological findings reveal our past lives. And NRL Bulldogs visit New Ireland.
This is National MTV News with Meriba Tulo.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Saturday's news. Today, the first lot of relief supplies for flood victims in Finchafen was ferried from Lae to the affected area by the Morbe Disaster Office. The supplies were accompanied by community representatives and the Finchafen District Development Authority CEO. Bethany Harriman with this report.
By noon, a dinghy had been packed with items that should give some sort of relief to the disaster victims. The contents were basic tools to help them rebuild homes after close to 20 was swept away in floods. Nails, saws and hammers were among the food rations, bag of rice and canvas for temporary shelter.
Boat, blood disaster, Morobe province, I'm ready. Ogeda Kaika, I'm go inside the one boat, na go finish, na all officials, CEO, Finchafen, and want them Ogeda officers, sample officers, want them me as the local mayor representing Keta village, and me plan move now.
The Morbe Provincial Disaster Office has come under fire, but it has utilized its boats to carry the supplies to Finchafen.
People only face him homeless and true, or need him help right now.
Parts of Morbe has been affected by floods and landslips in the last 3 weeks, and the disaster office is stretched to its limit. Representatives of the Finchafen District Development Authority were also in Lae to bring the supplies over to the victims. Bethany Harriman, National MTV News, Lae.
An Australian archaeologist says that obsidian artifacts originating from West New Britain and Manus tell us a lot about our past. Dr. Robin Torrance is back in PNG with obsidian artifacts that she took to Sydney for specific analysis.
Dr. Robin Torrance has been studying these obsidian artifacts for over 20 years.
Very old, they're probably between 10,000 and 3,000 years old.
She is convinced that these artifacts, which are much older than Lapita pottery, shows that Papua New Guinean societies were complex back then.
And finding out that in the very early period that we had complex societies with chiefs, people of different status, and also these objects were traded. So things went from Manus and New Britain to Bougainville to the mainland to Irian Jaya. So there was a massive long-distance exchange system of some kind, probably between big men, that was integrating the society.
A lot of these artifacts can now be found in museums all over the world, showing the level of interest in these objects.
They were made in a very complex way. So we think that they were probably valuables used to display status, maybe of a chief or somebody very important, or used in bride price.
The interest in these artifacts also mean that private dealers are also interested in them, and some are being sold without notifying the National Museum.
Important about telling us about the history. Their value is not in money or cost terms, it's in knowledge and pride. And so I would like people to know about these so that if they find them, they can alert their culture center of the National Museum and help us learn more about Papua New Guinea history.
Sarah Aupong, National MTV News.
Starting next year, all the schools in Enga province will be learning their culture as a complement program to the existing curriculum. A culture education program was launched yesterday in Enga province. Enga is now a pioneer province in Papua New Guinea to integrate their cultural heritage into their children's learning.
Enga Governor Grand Chief Sir Peter Ipatas, U.S. Ambassador to PNG Catherine Ebert Gray, and the founder of Culture Education, Professor Polly Wessner, were given a rousing welcome by students at Wabek Primary School yesterday.
Education is about trying to retain our culture, retain our values, more importantly, especially when we have a a lot of our kids who are not really grounded. And we want to bring culture education so that they know their background, they know where they come from, and also they must also learn the do's and don'ts.
Enga provincial government and an anthropologist who is also a missionary to Enga province, Professor Polly Wesner, were working very closely with parents, teachers, village elders, Enga Law and Order Committee to introduce culture education. Professor Wesner has compiled their own resource books and teacher's guide and was also launched yesterday. Culture education will not be taught as a subject, but it will be integrated into all the subjects. For example, a math teacher will teach the students math formulas as well as teach them on how people in the past calculate things. The same applies to other subjects.
If you take a stone axe, if you take bilas, that lasts for a very long time. But words of wisdom are forgotten with the elders who knew them. And that was our concern. So we began a long voyage. We traveled to every tribe in the province to collect traditions from elders before they were lost. And we produced 3 books and many scientific articles.
Enga province, like other provinces in the country, has a strong culture. Students will only be taught with the good cultural principles to preserve them and do away with the bad ones. One example given was the rules of engagement when it comes to tribal warfare. Tribal warriors are not supposed to touch or kill women and children. There must also be a safe passage for visitors to go through. Also, they are not supposed to touch or kill peacemakers.
We don't have a written codification of a cultural principle. So the project seeks to codify that.
Introducing a new type of curriculum which is going to protect the culture and the traditions of Enga and be introduced in schools throughout the province. And I'm really proud that it's part of our American legacy because an American anthropologist named Dr. Polly Wesner also was very involved in this.
Teachers up in Wabek were already in service with the cultural curriculum. The program will be established and taught to teachers at Wabek Teachers College. The outcome of the program will see that every child should have a sense of cultural pride, know why they are proud for, and know the first heritage of Enga province and pass it on to their children and grandchildren. Basinata Yama, National EMTV News, Wabek.
The United States Ambassador to Papua New Guinea, Catherine Herbert Gray, spent 2 days in Enga visiting former schools in the province run by U.S. missionaries. She chose Enga as her first province in PNG to visit because of ongoing education empowerment programs. Ambassador Herbert Gray said Enga province reminds her of her childhood in PNG and the first U.S. missionaries who set foot in Enga province.
Ambassador Herbert Gray on Thursday visited Sopas Hospital and Kopen Secondary, and on Friday she visited a hospital at Wapanamanda in Enga province. Upon her visit to Kopen Secondary, she presented cartons of library books to the school.
These are handbooks on the United States economy, and this is on U.S. government. So this tells you everything you need to know. So if students want to learn more about the United States, that's perfect.
Great.
The books contain the history of America, U.S. government, and its economy.
Many of them actually got their start learning English and in school, learning from American missionaries here in Enga.
The first white people who stepped foot in Enga province were Lutheran and Seventh-day Adventist missionaries from USA. They arrived in 1948. Sopas Hospital was formerly run by Adventist missionaries, while the hospital in Wapanamanda and Kopen Secondary were run by Lutherans. Many of the Engan students were taught by the Americans, and they speak fluent American English. After the missionaries left, Sopas Hospital was closed due to tribal fight. Today, the Enga provincial government takes ownership of the schools and hospitals in the province.
And here I am now at a hospital that's being revived and is really the heartbeat of the community. providing health care, and many of the areas that we're also supporting throughout Papua New Guinea.
The U.S. ambassador have plans to work along with Enga Governor Grand Chief Sir Peter Ipatas to improve service delivery in the province. She said PNG government have the same priorities like the U.S. Embassy. They focus on education, health, protecting the environment and security. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Wabek.
The inaugural Huhu War Canoe Festival was staged for the first time at Maiwara Village in Alatau District, Milne Bay Province. The festival aims to showcase the real culture of war canoes, associated war practices, including preparations and feasting. Alatau MP Charles Abel launched the festival yesterday in front of an estimated 1,000 people. The organizing committee says that traditionally, war canoes were built for wars and not racing. You're with National EMTV News. In the news ahead, security operations for APEC 2018 underway, and Air New Guinea celebrates 43 years in the airline business. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Preparations on security operations for the APEC summit in 2018 have begun in Port Moresby. Over 20 security personnel who work at Port Moresby's Jackson's Airport completed an induction workshop as a lead-up to the security operations. The one-day workshop focused on emergencies and other domestic situations that may arise at the airport.
Those who participated include 17 police officers, employees of Air New Guinea, PNG Air and National Airports Corporation. The training was conducted under the Papua New Guinea-Australia Policing Partnership Program and looks at different approaches security personnel may take when faced with domestic situations. NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Ben Tui said the training will set a platform for both security personnel and police officers to work alongside each other.
Good exercise that police run by the Australian Federal Police lead up to all the major events that will coming, and also for the long run for this country, training for our police officers and other security stakeholders around the airport.
The Jackson's Airport is an important area of operation in the NCD Command. In the last 2 months, police officers have arrested 2 suspects who allegedly issued bomb threats at the international airport. Airport Police Station Commander Robert Wani said such training are vital for his police officers because airport policing is quite different from police work at the stations.
This training is first of its kind. We have never had this kind of training before since I took over, and we have formulated this course materials, and finally it's been delivered, and thanks to the AFP. I think this course that we have delivered today will go a long way in helping us to, equipping our officers, not only the police, but all the security agencies and the stakeholders that work at the airport.
Similar inductions will be carried out in other provinces in the coming weeks. Takla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Kemele Construction Limited, a PNG-owned company, has won the contract for the Buka Airport security fencing project and associated works. Kemele was selected among 12 others following a bid evaluation process. The contractual documents have been signed to begin work.
The contract follows the Memorandum of Understanding signed in August this year between the National Airports Corporation, the Autonomous Bougainville Government and Yitu landowners. Installation of security fencing and associated works for Buka Airport is the final civil works project tendered under the Civil Aviation Development Investment Program, CADIP Trans 2, at the cost of 8.54 million kina. Major works include installation of the security fencing around the aerodrome area, development of access road to allow local communities to access safely and comfortably into main town area, and associated building works include a new H65 house for local airport safety officer. The project, implemented by the National Airports Corporation, is jointly delivered by the National Government of Papua New Guinea with the Asian Development Bank in compliance with national and international safety and security regulations. Gemele Construction Limited is expected to complete this project by July next year. Fabian Haklitz, National EMTV News.
The national flag carrier celebrated its 43rd anniversary this year. As part of the celebrations, Air Niugini named one of its Fokker 100 aircraft Rabaul at the Tokwa airport late yesterday. CEO Simon Fu says this is in line with the government intention to promote and make East New Britain a tourism hub.
The heads of the Air Niugini arrived to a traditional Tolai welcome amidst a heavy downpour at the Tokwa airport late yesterday afternoon. The flight to Kavieng was delayed for at least an hour as the ground crew battled against the rain to name the plane Rabaul. But that didn't stop the official naming of the Fokker 100 aircraft that marks the start of the celebration of Air Niugini's 43rd anniversary. Air Niugini's CEO Simon Fu says Air Niugini is cementing the government's policy to make East New Britain a tourism hub, and naming of their F-100 aircraft on their 43rd anniversary signifies and promotes East New Britain as PNG's tourism capital.
And the O'Neill and Dion government has designated East New Britain as the tourism province. So Air Niugini would like to work together with the East New Britain provincial government to develop that policy.
The East New Britain Governor, Araminto Binding Jr., who has also returned from the Parliament sitting in Port Moresby this week, came back with good news for the province.
After the delay, again did sign the MOU between National Airports Corporation with the Minister for Civil Aviation, our good member for POMIO, for upgrading Jackanot rural airstrip so that we can start landing Link PNG.
The Air Niugini's boss, meanwhile, says the flag carrier will increase its destinations in the coming months, and for East New Britain province, the bigger planes will land here first before the smaller airplanes take passengers to rural airstrips in the province, such as in the remote Pomio district. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Trukai Sports is next. PNG women's under-20 football team on their final leg before the World Cup, and the NRL club, the Bulldogs, in New Ireland. Details after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The PNG women's under-20 team left for New Zealand late yesterday for their final trial match before meeting Brazil in the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup on November the 13th. The team will be in New Zealand for a week and will play 3 trial matches against New Zealand's under-20 and under-17 sides to further boost their World Cup campaign.
Coach Lisa Cole will have this time to polish up the squad when they face New Zealand's best.
We're going to play New Zealand's under-20 team that is also competing in the World Cup on Sunday. And then we have 2 other matches versus a mixed squad of their U17 group and some of their U20s as well. So we'll get 3 games in New Zealand and be able to see where we are with the team and kind of make some last-minute adjustments to our strategy, while we also get to see who our players are and give them a little bit of a run and figure out our starting lineup for Brazil.
This is the final selected 21-member squad who will represent PNG in the much-anticipated FIFA Under-20 World Cup in the coming days, and with the country's hopes resting on their shoulders. Cole gives her perspective on the game.
We're only playing with really one high player, and we've changed that. Ramona has dropped back into the attacking mid position where she can get the ball a little bit more, and then we've added some speed up top so that we have a forward that can stretch defenses and get in behind. Either Jackie would play in that position, or maybe Nicolette, and even possibly Essie. So we have different options. That's what I really like about the team now. When I first came, I was worried that we weren't going to have a group of players we could select from because they played one position. I only play here. Well, now players have learned various different positions, and so I can play them in different spots based on what we need for that game.
However, the American says the team is focusing on how the Brazilians are going to play and their strategies both in attacking and defending.
So that's one thing, and then the other thing is to make sure we're good on set pieces. And then the third thing is to just make sure our communication and our organization is good within the team.
Captain Yvonne Gabong, however, appeared relaxed and confident, saying the squad has gelled and their performance has lifted following the recent tours to the United States.
They are really confident right now. They have developed self-confidence in themselves. They believe in themselves because the trip to the United States, we went there, we had a lot of game experience, and it built their confidence. And as a team as a whole, we all get ready straight.
The team will return on the 6th of November before the opening match against Brazil on November the 13th at the Sir John Guy's Stadium. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
A partnership between New Ireland Province and NRL club the Bulldogs has enabled communities to share skills and knowledge of the game. Members of the club have been visiting the province in the last 4 years during their break from the NRL season. Fabian Hakalitz caught up with the Bulldogs in Kavieng recently.
New Ireland Province was Bulldogs' province of choice in Papua New Guinea. During their recent visit, we caught up with them at Kavieng Hotel, where they were enjoying the island's seafood buffet.
I asked the players, do you want to come on a trip that's going to be something very different? It's not the usual holidays that they go on. It's a new experience for them, come to a place that they've never been to before. And all the players that have been here have always commented that they found it a very fulfilling experience, something very different, meeting different cultures, the lovely people and their smiling faces, and just seeing a different lifestyle they're not used to back in Sydney, Australia.
The former Bulldogs player and now current New South Wales Rugby League Performance Program Manager told MTV News that they are more than happy to give back to the community. One of the recipients is the Nehemiah Christian School in Kaplaman.
Over the last couple of days we've gone out and seen a lot of schools, done a lot of community and school visits, handed out a lot of Bulldogs gear, as well as I'm fortunate enough to work for New South Wales Rugby League and hand out some New South Wales gear as well, and spread the word of Rugby League in a country that really does understand what Rugby League is.
Fabian Hakalitz, National EMTV Sports.
And then in Strukai Sports, we'll have for you the weather details for the next 24 hours when we come back.
Strukai Sports. Strukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, worth doing with Dulux.
A quick look at the weather. The southern region, Port Moresby, Daru, mostly fine. Thundery showers in Kerma. Fine weather in Alota. Rain showers in Popondetta. To the Momasa region, rain and storms in Leh. Thundery showers in Wau and Madang. Rain and some storms over the next 24 hours in Wewak and Vanimore. To the New Guinea Islands region, rain and storms in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe and Buka. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, you can expect some showers with morning fog over the next 24 hours.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, worth doing with Dulux.
And that ends the news, sports and weather for today, Saturday the 29th of October 2016. On behalf of the MTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.